What's up, guys? What's going on? I'm Paul. This is Pauline Theology's daily devotional, man, and we are going through the book of John. We're at a unique juncture in the time that Jesus is about to go through the passion. He's about to give his life for the sake of the world, be the lamb that is slain for the world. We're going to see that, and this particular verse here is insane to think about. If we open our minds and we contemplate what's actually going on, it's crazy. So if you haven't read it yet, read John chapter 18, verse 22. Stop the tape, see what it has to say, come back, and we're going to answer the questions. If you've already read it, man, let's get into this craziness, man. So what's happening? Well, what we've seen already is that Jesus is in this mock trial, man, this thing in which the rules are being broken. And Jesus isn't supposed to have to speak for himself, but they're supposed to bring witnesses to testify to the crimes that he's done. But they're asking him to answer for himself. And Jesus, with his wisdom, counters them by saying witnesses can come and testify to the things that I've been saying. So it's funny because of how they are not doing what they're supposed to do. Jesus is questioning them as to why they are asking him when they should really be asking witnesses that is privy to a true trial. And so Jesus is pushing it back on them, letting them know, slyly letting them know. But now, as Jesus takes command, we talked about in the last episode that Jesus is actually the one in charge, even when he's bound. Even when he's bound, he's in charge. Now we have this guard that comes and slaps Jesus in the face. And then he says, how can you speak to the high priest in this way? Or how can you answer the high priest in this manner? This is incredible, man. What's so striking is the fact that God allows himself to be even placed in this situation, to be struck by some dude. And then not only that, but what he says to Jesus is so ironic. How can you speak or how can you answer the high priest in this way? How can you answer the high priest this manner? When truly it should be, how can you treat the God of the universe in this manner? How can you speak to the God of all creation in this manner? Man, this verse 22 is a spin on its head. It's a turn to the situation and reality of what is truly going on. John, when he's writing this irony just seeps through. It is just gushing and oozing out. The fact that this guy says, how can he speak to the high priest when really, how can you treat the true high priest? As in Hebrews, it says that he is our high priest. How can you treat the true high priest in this way? The one who has come to save your soul. What does this say about God? Well, this shows the humility of God. And in Philippians chapter 2, it talks about the humility of Jesus, that being God, he did not think it something to lose, but humbled himself. And this is a picture of that humility, that he would be bound and then slapped. And even further in some of the other Gospels, it talks about being spit on. This is the God whom we serve. This is what he has done so that we might have life. And this is just the start of it. This is just the start of it. That is grace manifested, demonstrated, and shown right here in verse 22. God's grace. So we have God's humility. People talk about how prideful he is, but look at the humility that he has displayed here as he endures this mockery. And then the grace that he has, because this is what we do to him. We slap him in the face. And then the love. What What love, what great love does God have that he would submit himself to this situation? What a love. This says so many things about God. His justice, that he would endure the weight and the penalty of the sin that we ourselves should be enduring. This is justice. What's this say about man? The audacity of man. How we think, assume our greatness. And I mean, sometimes it is in good intentions, man, because I know, and that's the thing about this situation, is that as a believer, as a follower of Jesus, I try and look for and see as new teachers and new instructors and pastors come out, and sometimes they seem to waver from the orthodoxy that I'm used to, and I'm trying to gather if they are followers of Jesus or if they're coming up with their own thing for their own glory. And so I understand that as someone like Jesus comes through and he does his thing, that it may be difficult to turn and see that they are correct. I understand that thing. So the intentions of this guard of this high priest, or this helper of the high priest, I understand that he is looking and seeking to do the right thing, man, because this stuff is difficult. But man, the audacity of this brother as he is saying these things to the true God, and our audacity as well. Our audacity as well to tell God what he should do, how he should do it. That's us. And it is all with good intentions sometimes, we think. But the audacity that we can make demands of God. So how do we apply these truths to our lives, man? I think first off, when we do try and make these requests to God, we should first remember the love that he has, the grace that he's shown, the justice that he has borne. Because if we look and live our lives in light of that, then the things that we ask of God, well, first off, when I made the assumption of looking around and see all these things, about different people coming in, we'll have the truth because we will see the truth in Jesus. That's why we say the scriptures, so that we do know the truth and we can recognize the truth. That's the thing that Jesus was saying many times about this, is if you look at me, you see the Father. It's because he is the perfect representation. And so if we don't look at Jesus and see the goodness, the beauty, and the wonder, then we actually don't know the Father. And so that's the thing about reading the scriptures, praying, and studying it, so that we know who Jesus is. We know who the Father is. And so when someone comes in and does something that may be new or novel or innovative, then we must remember that we can see truth by holding it up against true truth, which is Jesus. And so that's one thing on a side note that I brought up about understanding and recognizing that. But truly, I think that as we look and we see and we recognize these things of the scripture, as we see God as who he is in his grace and his mercy and his love for us and his faithfulness to us, then we know that he is doing the best, the wisest decisions for our lives. And so we trust him in that. Rather than making demands, we submit to the plans. Rather than making demands, we submit to the plans. So the question is, are you submitting to the plans today? I appreciate you guys for listening, and I will see you in the next episode.